कहाँ है?
पूरा वाट लगा दिया प्रशांत त्याग भी हड़ा है क्या रे
सर सर पीछे
सर यहाँ पे टर्न यहाँ पे
फोटोग्राफर नहीं है
सही फिर बेकार कर दिया
उसका सेंटर है ना सेंटर सर
सर सर और जाओ रे ये
सर यहाँ पे सर सर यहाँ पे
कमल सर राइट
पीछे से
कमल सर इधर यहाँ पे थोड़ा आ जाइए
हाँ सर यहाँ आ जाइए सर और सर बहुत बहुत
सेंटर
अरे उधर हो गया फिर भी लेफ्ट
सर एक सेकंड होल्ड सर होल्ड
ऊपर मिलेगा
अरे यार क्यों जा रहे हो भाई
Doing a little bit of action already, sir. How are you doing, sir? Ladies and gentlemen, can you please give him a big round of applause?
Thank you. बहुत शुक्रिया.
Do you want to address the audience first before we show the trailer once again, sir?
Well, this is our labor of love. Now, our baby is now your child to take care of. Thank you. Watch the trailer and then please let me know.
Lots of questions coming your way, sir. Sir, if you could just come and take your seat and we'll show the trailer.
Oh, that's because of...
Okay. Guys, are we ready to show the trailer right now? Right? Okay. Let's dim the lights. Once again, the greatest, a living legend. Please put your hands together for Mr. Kamal Haasan, also known as Vikram. So before I open the floor to questions from here, I keep calling you a living legend. This is, by the way, the second time that I'm getting to meet you. Last time I met you was during Shamita when there was a huge event at the Taj Lands End. We talk of Sachin Tendulkar. He was born in 73, even retired in 2013. You have been acting since 1973 and next year is going to be your 50th year. Sir, अब 50 साल जब आप एक्टिंग कर रहे हैं, can we have a big round of applause? His first role as an adult came in 1973 with a film called Arangetram, if I'm correct. So when you sign a film now, what do you look at? What are your motivations? Is it just the love for films that you think ये कहानी अच्छी है मैं करता हूँ?
Somebody asked me, when you work, when you sign, I sign because it's a legality. Otherwise, they asked me, when you go to work, I said it's nearly 35 years since I worked. I'm on a holiday and they pay me for it. I love my work. I love cinema as much as you do. I'm a film fan and I'm fortunate to be behind and in front of the camera, in front of the projectors like you, and sometimes behind the projector watching my production rolling out to you. So when he asked me when I sign it with the same love I sign an autograph. I live up to the promise whether or not I've signed on that paper. Otherwise, I never get into a project. It's not about signing. My commitment is when I agree, when I love the project. Paper, I'm a lawyer's son, so I do understand the importance of papers. But otherwise, the papers don't matter. My paper is my tongue, and my pen is my mind. This is a dialogue I've written in a Tamil film called Virumandi.
So you're talking about your love for films. I look at this, it says produced by Kamal Haasan. You're acting in this film. I know you have scored music in your films. You've written the screenplay, you've written dialogues. So there's very little that you've not done when it comes to a film. Now, I've heard a rumor, and this is a rumor which is very strong, by the way, that Kamal Haasan decides to take a holiday. It's not a holiday, it's a work holiday. You go to some country, could be any country, where you think, yes, that's where I can learn the craft. You learn the craft and then you come back. How much of it is true?
All of it. But I wish it would become a regular habit. I could afford to go only once after every film. Now I wish I could go almost, bring those people here, which I do sometimes. And it's not just me learning. My team learning is also important for me. And this cinema, people think the stars who stand on the dais and get the limelight are the only people who make films. No, there are at least 200 people who make that one shot of my screaming. There are 6 people making it work. The focus puller, the man who pulls up the crane, the man who lights up the whole night. I just walk in and take the light and shout. But there are 200 people every time. Any one of them can go wrong, and you will say something's wrong with the frame. Apart from that, I have many people behind making these banners go up to let you know, to distribute it, to send it to the correct theaters and program it well. It's so many people, and it's arrogance for any star to think that he made the film happen. He works in the film. I take a holiday and let it to these people. They take care of it. I have them sitting quietly here. I have people from Sony, Rajat Saab. I have Jayantilal Bhai here. And I have even the songwriter Rakib here, who makes it work for me. And every little thing, he writes it wrong, they'll say, "Acha nahi hai ye gana," and they'll blame it on me. And when the song is very good, they forget him. They think it's Kamal Haasan's song. I'm also a lyricist. I wrote the Tamil version, and I sat with him for the Hindi version. I understand how much work it is. It's not just 4 lines. It is remembered for 50, 40 years if it becomes a hit. So we are writing for another generation. So I thank all of them, especially the young director who claims to be my fan. After this film, I'm his fan. And there is Fahad Fasil Saab, who's becoming national day by day. And very soon he will become international also. He's got that. And Vijay Sethupathi Saab is there. Many talented people. Anirudh music is all around the country now, not just one state. Every state is grabbing it up like their own. I thank all these technicians, and I'm yet to thank you, but I'll say it in advance. Without you, this film can be made, but it won't make it.
There definitely will be a question, but since I have the opportunity, I'm just going to slip it in. So you are not new to Hindi movies. You have done Hindi movies by the dozen in the past. But sir, there's a revolution that is taking place. India is one place. We have different content films. We have different language films that are becoming pan-India films. Just one question. I'm not going into, movies that are made here or movies that are made down south. But say you are starting Vikram. Are the sensibilities different when you're trying to make a pan-India film, or it doesn't matter?
No, I think film speaks a world language. It's a language on its own. And we are a country with such diversity, but with fantastic unity. Yes, we might disagree, but here's a country which doesn't speak a language, but calls it their national anthem with pride. None of them down south know a single word of Bengali, but they sing their national anthem in that language with pride. They know that. That's the only Bengali they know, is the national anthem. And down south, you'll find a very dark gentleman who will call himself Nehru. That's what this country is all about. I've seen that from my childhood. There is one sensibility which united us all. Otherwise, we were just princely states. It united us. No, that's fine. It united us all, and we made what was considered to be a silly dream into a truth, and we are living it. And we've forgotten how difficult it was to put it all together. It's like success in a movie. You forget how difficult it was. Once it comes, you think it'll keep coming. No, you'll have to keep your vigil on this. And that's what we are doing. Film takes its part, does its duty in uniting the people. This is the only place where you don't check what caste or community the next man sitting to you is. You got your ticket, you got your entertainment. That's how the country should be.
Wow.
And this is the place, this is an example, and I am happy to belong to this family, which makes that possible. When you say South ka film success ho raha hai, I think it's an Indian film which is succeeding, as compared to a Hollywood film succeeding here. It doesn't matter which part of the country makes. We learned making big films from films like Mughal-e-Azam, Sholay, and we didn't even try them because they were so big that Tamil films or Malayalam films could not afford a film like that. We just saw them. Ek Duje Ke Liye was doable. Anybody could have done it. A Bengali could have done. All you needed is brains like Mr. K. Balachandar. If you had that kind of brain, anybody could have done it. But Mughal-e-Azam is not just intelligence, it's guts to make. He's made it for years, decades, to make that film. I've seen Sholay, worked with the maker of Sholay. I never thought I would even meet him, but I worked with him. So we do understand and respect. We should respect each other. If you think this film is good, appreciate it. Doesn't matter. Language doesn't matter. Films don't have language.
And Sir has already beautifully introduced a little about the gentleman that I'm going to call on next, with the three gentlemen who have brought this film to us. The man with the golden touch, Jayantilal Gara, Pen Studios. He is the chairman, the managing director. Sir, Jayanti bhai, once again, very good to see you. Very happy to meet you. Then Mr. Rajat Kakkar and your Sony Music. Also, can we please have a big round of applause for them? And जिनकी इतनी खूबसूरती से तारीफ की, रकीब आलम साहब जिन्होंने लिरिक्स लिखे हैं इस फिल्म के. सर, मैं आपको भी आमंत्रण देना चाहूँगा. And since I know everybody is just, अब थोड़े से गुस्सा होंगे मुझ पे, मैं एक सवाल जल्दी सबसे पूछ देता हूँ. जयंती भाई, सबसे पहले तो आपसे सवाल. आप जिस चीज को छूते हैं कहते हैं कि वो सोने में तब्दील हो जाती है. पिछली बार आपने एक RRR नाम की फिल्म को छुआ और हमें पता है कि क्या हुआ. सर, इस फिल्म के साथ लोकेश कानगराज जिन्होंने कैदी जैसी फिल्म बनाई है, मास्टर जैसी फिल्म बनाई है, अब वो आ रहे हैं कमल सर के साथ विक्रम लेके. इस बार क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन है?
नहीं, थैंक यू. मुझे पहली बात तो खुशी है कि हमारे सीनियर कमल हसन जी की फिल्म हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि मेरा करियर स्टार्ट हुआ होगा वीडियो से. तो इनकी वीडियो मैंने सदमा, एक दूजे के लिए इतनी बेची है क्योंकि उस ज़माने में पायरेसी बिका करती थी, क्योंकि इन्होंने बहुत अच्छी फिल्में बनाई थी. तो मुझे खुशी है कि मेरी कंपनी पेन मरुदर कमल हसन जी की पिक्चर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कर रही है, और ये बहुत अच्छी फिल्म है, बहुत अच्छी लग रही है, और इंडिया इसको बहुत प्राउड करेगी.
राइट. रजत सर, सोनी म्यूजिक हैज बीन एट द फोरफ्रंट. अब हिंदी फिल्मों की बात करें या तमिल फिल्मों की बात करें, लेकिन सर ये जो कॉम्बो है लोकेश कनगराज अनिरुद्ध और सोनी म्यूजिक, मास्टर का म्यूजिक भी इन्होंने दिया था. तो जब ये दोनों साथ आते हैं, इज इट जस्ट अ गिवन कि यार इनके साथ तो काम करना ही है?
Thank you for the introduction first. And I would like to believe, yes, I think we are working with superstars in this film, and the magic should happen. And I must say that it's been a pleasure when I met Sir the other day when we were to sign the movie and all. The vision that he had for the project is really in itself something that tells you that the project is going to come out really nicely. And of course, then you have all the people backing it. It promises to be a big hit. It's already a big hit. On the music is all over. You can see it on the charts, and it will get even bigger. So yes, delighted to be associated with the project. Thank you.
Right. और ये जो जनाब हैं, इनसे कितने लोग पहली बार मिल रहे हैं? आप लोग पहली बार मिल रहे हैं. आप लोग मिल चुके हैं? नहीं, आप इनसे मिल चुके हैं क्योंकि जितनी बार आपने श्रीवल्ली पर डांस किया है वो इन्हीं की वजह से है. राइट? That is रकीब आलम. एंड कमल सर ने बोला कि अगर वो कुछ ऐसा लिखते हैं जो शायद आपको पसंद ना आए तो कहते हैं कि इन्होंने लिखा है. अगर कुछ अच्छा लिखते हैं तो उनको लगता है कि कमल सर ने लिखा है. This man has been the reason why all of us are looking at these songs श्रीवल्ली and saying that ये हमारे देश से निकल के आया. रकीब भाई एक बात बताएं, जब एक फिल्म होती है जिस ओरिजिनल भाषा में वो लिखी जाती है और उसको आप हिंदी में तब्दील करते हैं, हिंदी में बदलते हैं, उस एसेंस को कैसे पकड़ के रखते हैं?
उसके लिए सबसे पहली बात है कि पहली जो लाइन होती है फिल्म गाने की, तो उसको मैं पकड़ता हूँ और मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि उसका जो मीनिंग है उसको मैं किस तरफ से लेके आऊँ. तो कोशिश आप जैसे सर का था पतल पतल पतल. अब मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं लिप है और कई बार रिपीट होता है, तो मैं सोचते सोचते कल करीब 2 दिन लगे मुझे. तो मुझे लगा कि अब उसके हिसाब से फिर लिखा जाए, तो मैंने बदले लिखा.
रकीब भाई और मेरे बीच में एक और सिमिलरिटी है. सर, I'm actually a Tamilian.
No, he's making it sound very easy.
It's not easy.
Very simple. That's because he's a simple man himself. But it's very, very difficult to write poetry itself is difficult. To ride a motorcycle, do a crossword puzzle, and negotiate traffic. That's how difficult it is to write for a dubbing film, because he's not free to let his horse go. He has to hold the lagan to the lip, to the meaning, and to the beat, and still sound sensible. There have been songs, not to name any, because my own films I will take, where the original song would have been fantastic, meaning-wise. It sounds silly when it comes to Hindi.
Sir, there is
It
one
has
song
happened.
everybody loves
Let's
it.
not name it, because let's not name it, because there's another writer involved. We are all brothers, but it sounds very silly. We have to be very careful. It's some of the greatest poets have said this to me. Gulzar Saab has said this to me. It's very difficult writing from one language to another. That itself is difficult. Now you're doing it for already shot film with lip movement going like that. That's why in certain advertisements you see a doctor recommending something, but his lips are moving differently. You think he's lying. That's the first thing that advertisers should understand, that dubbing should be done very carefully, and it should be colloquial. The syntax in a South Indian language and Hindi are opposite. Ulta seedha ho jata hai. So you'll have to understand that also and bring about meaning. It's very difficult job. Even the dubbing writer's job is very difficult. If you see this film, I'm not comparing, but then in America it's allowed. You can compare with your competitor. But here we don't. It's out of decency. But if you see this film, you'll realize, you will forget that it is a dubbed movie. The meaning will come to you. And you won't have the tension of looking down at the subtitles. For us, what's most important is not to wake you up while you're watching the film.
रकीब भाई, वो actually 20 साल फिर तमिलनाडु में जाके रहे. Am I right? Correct. Super. Please, gentlemen, why don't you take your seats? Because now I throw open the floor to all the questions that are coming from our friends in the media. Yes, please. आप बस अपना अगर हाथ ऊपर कर देंगे, I will come to you. Yes, ma'am. एक दूसरे के लिए. Can we get a microphone to the lady, please?
Yeah, I think they will need a mic.
हाँ मैं हट जाता हूँ यार बीच में नहीं आऊँगा मैं
जयंती जी भावना शर्मा ना नहीं, चुप। जयंती जी ये जो फिल्म आ रही है आपकी ये यशराज की भी फिल्म आ रही है पृथ्वीराज और वो साउथ की लैंग्वेजेस में भी डब की गई है तो थिएटर्स को लेके क्या हाल है क्योंकि ये भी बड़ी फिल्म है वो भी बड़ी फिल्म है
करेक्ट है और आप मतलब आपने देखा होगा कि हमारे यहाँ अभी मल्टीप्लेक्स का ज़माना है तो दो फिल्मों को कभी भी एडजस्ट करना मुश्किल है ही नहीं बिल्कुल भी मुश्किल नहीं जो अच्छी पिक्चर है वो ऑलवेज चलती है
जी सिंगल थिएटर्स भी है नहीं कितने
सिंगल स्क्रीन में भी अभी डिवाइड होना शुरू हो गया है कि वहाँ भी दो फिल्में लगती है दो दो शो में लगाते हैं सब अभी पार्टनरशिप अच्छी चल रही है पूरी इंडिया में जैसे कमल जी ने बोला कि अभी सभी इंडियन फिल्म है कोई लैंग्वेज नहीं है अभी
Kamal sir over here, towards your left, towards your right.
towards
sorry.
your right sir
Towards over here. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question to you is, there are so many multilinguals also which are being made, which are dubbed simultaneously in Hindi, Tamil, shot simultaneously in Hindi, Tamil, and Telugu. Was there ever a thought of making this in that pattern, or what was the thought in dubbing it?
I'm always open to making a double version. But my CEO and my co-producer, they are nervous because that will shoot up the cost like anything. The actors are not the worst part. It's a number of, even if you take one shot, which you will double up and use it for another film, you still have to pay everybody twice. And they are concerned about that. But if somebody like me, for example, I made Hey Ram as two different versions. That's why you will not find any, linguistic discrepancies. Because Manohar Sham Joshi Saab wrote the Hindi dialogues and is a great Hindi writer. And you can see the value of his writing fully without any filters. And I wrote the Tamil film. Likewise, I wrote for Vishwarupam in Tamil, and Vishwaroop was written by Atul Tiwari Saab. So it has its value. You're losing out on something while we gain one payment. We reduce one payment, but I think soon. Jayantilal Bhai and others will sit together and say, why not make a double version? And actors will have to consider this and not ask for two payments, but become partners in the film. That's the only way you can reach out. Like, there is still more potential in South for Hindi cinemas to grow. The reason it's not growing is they're not coming closer. The linguistic barrier is stopping them. In spite of it, they watch Hindi films. All this political jhanjat with bhasha, it'll keep happening. But artists and sportsmen are the people who keep breaking it. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Tendulkar is equally a hero for a Tamilian living in a native place where I come from, Paramakudi. They can't even pronounce a Hindi word. To tell you the truth, Tendulkar is the one Marathi word they've learned. So it is like that. And these people are great uniting factors.
Hello, hi sir. Sir, straight at you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Vanakkam sir.
Vanakkam.
So my question is, I mean, I don't think many people know that the germ of the idea, even of this Vikram, has come from you. It is the director Lokesh Kanagaraj who had his own idea, but went on to just say that okay, I'll take your idea and develop it. So how does that mean? What does that mean to you? Because you had your own Vikram like several years ago, and probably there's one incident that sort of comes. How does that feel? And do you feel that Lokesh would probably be at it with his own thing?
Every time I make a film, I hope it'll last at least 10 years. Otherwise, I've made a bad product. So 10 years later, they should talk. And it doesn't matter what genre it is, how costly the film was to make. or how economically we made the film. We can make an economical film, but we've never made a cheap film. So when somebody says, even today somebody said, I watched your Chachi so many times. And she was kind, she didn't want to say from my childhood. And so that's a great feeling. And Mr. Kanakaraj keeps saying that he came to cinema because of me. Everybody comes to cinema because of one person, icon that he knows. I was happy to be in Hindi cinema, the same air breathed by Dilip Kumar Saab. So that's what I felt. I never thought I would meet him. But for Ek Duje Ke Liye Silver Jubilee, he came and he shook hands. And I think that's the same pleasure he got when he saw tears in my eyes that I get